When you are a child, time does not move. A summer feels endless. A day feels like a world. And waiting for tomorrow feels unbearable. When you grow older, something breaks. Years begin to collapse into months, months into weeks, and soon entire decades feel like they vanished without resistance. Nothing about the clock has changed. The earth still turns at the same speed. Physics has not accelerated, yet subjectively time is running. This is not imagination, nostalgia, or laziness. It is a real psychological phenomenon, and its cause is deeply unsettling. A child does not skim reality. A child absorbs it. Every sound is new, every face unfamiliar, every emotion intense. The brain, surrounded by novelty, records experience in extreme detail. One afternoon contains hundreds of impressions, and when remembered later, it feels long because it was dense. Time feels slow when experience is rich. Adults live differently. The commute is known, the work is familiar, conversations repeat, environments stabilize. The brain no longer needs to record everything. It has seen this before. It compresses. This is where an idea often associated with Richard Feynman becomes disturbing. Feynman repeatedly emphasized that humans do not experience reality directly. They experience internal models of reality. When those models are incomplete, attention is high. When those models feel complete, attention collapses. Attention is the currency of time. Where attention fades, time disappears. The brain is not designed to make life feel long. It is designed to conserve energy and predict efficiently. Repetition tells the brain that nothing new is happening. Familiarity tells it that detailed recording is unnecessary. So entire days are stored as same as before. This is not memory failure, it is optimization. But optimization has a cost. Compressed memories create the illusion of a compressed life. There is another silent effect. Each year you live becomes a smaller fraction of your total existence. At 5 years old, 1 year is enormous. At 50, it barely registers. Your internal scale shifts. Time units shrink, not because they are shorter, but because you are larger. Combined with memory compression, this creates the sensation of acceleration. The first disturbing conclusion emerges here. Time does not speed up because life is ending. It speeds up because the brain believes it already understands life. Once understanding stabilizes, curiosity dies. When curiosity dies, attention fades. When attention fades, experience thins. And when experience thins, time collapses inward. This is only the beginning, because beneath this explanation lies a deeper question. If time is created by attention, and attention is created by novelty, then is the acceleration of time inevitable, or is it a consequence of how we choose to live? The biology of disappearing years. Time speeding up is not poetry and not philosophy first, it is biology. Inside the brain, time is not measured by seconds, but by change. When something unexpected happens, the brain releases chemicals that sharpen focus and strengthen memory. When something predictable happens, the brain goes quiet. Novelty creates signal, familiarity creates silence. Silence collapses time. This is why first experiences feel long. The first day at school, the first real fear, the first moment of independence, the first loss. The brain does not yet know what matters, so it records everything. Sensations, emotions, surroundings, internal reactions, all of it is stored in high resolution. Later, when remembered, those moments feel stretched, heavy, alive. They were not longer in minutes, they were longer in information. Adulthood removes this density. Experience teaches patterns. Patterns reduce surprise. Reduced surprise tells the brain it can stop recording in detail. Most adult days are not empty, they are repetitive, and repetition is compressed. The brain stores 10 similar days as one memory. This is why entire years can disappear without trauma or drama. Nothing demanded attention. Here is the most important illusion. Time does not feel fast while you are living it. It feels fast when you look back. While you're inside a routine year, it feels normal. Only later does it vanish, leaving behind a thin trace. Your life does not feel short because it passed quickly. It feels short because so little of it was stored. This leads to a cruel truth. You do not remember your life continuously. You remember peaks. Everything else becomes blur. A life full of repetition becomes a short life in memory, even if it was objectively long. There's this one strange exception to this rule, a state studied by Mihai Csikszentmihalyi. In flow, attention is total, the self disappears. While it is happening, time feels like it vanishes. But afterward, those moments are remembered as rich and meaningful. This reveals something critical. Time can feel fast in the moment and still feel long in memory. What matters is not speed, but depth of encoding. This destroys another myth. Staying busy does not slow time. Busyness without novelty accelerates it. A packed schedule of similar obligations produces less remembered life than fewer days filled with difference. Many people do not lose their 20s or 40s because nothing happened. They lose them because everything happened in the same way. As people age, another accelerator appears. Fear of uncertainty. Gradually, lives narrow. Same routes, same conversations, same beliefs, same risks avoided. This feels like wisdom. In reality, it is cognitive shrinking. The world becomes smaller not physically but mentally, and a smaller world contains less time. Experience creates mastery, but mastery creates predictability. Predictability kills attention. This is the paradox of adulthood. The better you understand life, the faster it disappears. Not because it becomes worse, but because it becomes familiar. Here the second disturbing conclusion becomes unavoidable. Time speeds up not because you are running out of years, but because the brain believes it already knows what those years will contain. Once the brain stops asking questions, it stops recording answers. And when it stops recording, life collapses inward. This leaves one dangerous question hanging. If attention creates time, and attention can be trained or lost, then maybe the acceleration of time is not fate. Maybe it is a side effect of safety, certainty, and the quiet decision to stop being challenged. Can time be slowed again? By the time most people reach adulthood, a quiet belief settles in. Not that life is finished, but that it is understood. The rules seem known. The risks feel mapped. The surprises appear manageable. This belief feels like wisdom, but it is familiarity in disguise, and it is the final reason time begins to vanish. The brain records richly only when it is uncertain. When the future feels predictable, attention drops. When attention drops, experience thins. Slowing time does not mean adding years. It means restoring uncertainty. That is the uncomfortable truth. Time expands where you do not yet know who you are. This is why slowing time feels threatening. It requires being bad at things again. It requires entering situations where your identity does not protect you. It requires letting your mental models fail. The brain resists this because failure is expensive. Certainty is efficient, but efficiency erases time. Modern adulthood is designed for comfort. Predictable income, stable routines, familiar environments, repeatable days. Comfort reduces stress, but it also removes friction. Friction is where awareness lives. A smooth life feels safe, but it slides quickly. This leads to a disturbing realization. Comfort does not shorten life biologically. It shortens it psychologically. Here the idea associated with Richard Feynman returns with force. Feynman warned that the easiest person to fool is yourself. Applied to time, this means most people believe time is stealing their life, when in reality they have stopped fully entering it. They are not dragged forward by time. They are gliding through it on autopilot. Wisdom carries a hidden cost. It reduces error. Reduced error reduces attention. Reduced attention compresses experience. To know what will happen next is to partially skip it. This is why highly experienced people often report that years blur together. Life does not dull, it compresses. There is proof that this compression is not inevitable. In the darkest conditions imaginable, Viktor Frankl observed something remarkable. Those who psychologically survived extreme suffering were not the strongest or the most hopeful. They were the ones who continued to notice a moral choice, a detail of nature, a fragment of meaning, a tension recreated time where none should have existed. This reveals something critical. Slowing time does not require pleasure. It requires presence. It does not require novelty for novelty's sake. It requires personal significance. A new city does nothing if you remain unchanged inside it. Time expands when your assumptions are challenged, when your skills are insufficient, when your beliefs are tested, when growth is demanded. Why do most people never slow time again? Because it requires humility. It requires admitting that you do not know as much as you think, that you are not finished becoming, that your current life may be too small. This is psychologically expensive. It is easier to say time is accelerating than to admit engagement has narrowed. The most disturbing possibility is not death. It is living a long life and remembering only fragments of it. Decades collapsing into a handful of scenes, not because of tragedy, but because nothing demanded full attention. Not because you were unlucky, but because you were comfortable. The final conclusion is simple and unsettling. Time does not speed up because life is short. Time speeds up because awareness shrinks. And the only known way to slow it again is not to add safety, but to add depth. Not to seek certainty, but to accept uncertainty. In the end, the question is not how long life lasted. The question is how much of it you actually experienced. Because time is not what passes. Time is what remains.